Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Agape Purpose podcast. And today I am joined by two incredible people, two of our mission partners, Dave and Maxine Balsbaugh.
That's correct.
Yes, of Hope Seeds International. I always joke with everyone is like, I want to make sure I get the pronunciation right, because again, it's a respect thing. And so I'm just so grateful for you guys being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's just get right into it. You guys are Hope Seeds. I want to know, where did the origin of agriculture and the seeds come from for you guys? Is that a passion project? Where did it all come from?
Well, it's kind of a long story, I guess. I've been involved with missions for close to 35 years, I'm assuming. And so around 35 years. So I felt called into missions when I was in my early 20s and went to college, prepared. And one of my mission trips where I was out on the mission field with our college, we went to Malawi, Africa, where we were teaching. I went with a group of ag-related missionaries. And so they were doing stuff in agriculture. I was just studying to be traditional missions. But when I was out on the field, I got a first glimpse on how agriculture played a big, major role in helping people and also opening the door for the gospel, especially in a lot of countries where they won't accept traditional missionaries anymore. And so while I was there in Malawi, I even got to see a play that the people put on that really influenced me a lot. And they pretended, these kids, they were in a church service, and they said, we want to put on this skit for you. And they lined these chairs up and made it look like it was a minivan. And so the missionaries were throwing candy out the window, pretending to, and they jumped out of this van. This one guy was all dressed up in a suit, act like he was yelling at the crowd, preaching. They got back in the van and left. And I thought, wow, that's not what I want to be. That's not the type of missionary I want to be. And from that point on, I started talking to one of my professors, and I said, hey, I want to look into the agriculture. And so that's how I got into at least doing agriculture and missions. So I've been involved with it for quite a few years.
Interesting. I think that the easy response for me when I hear about what you guys do is like, that makes so much sense. You feed the body, you feed the soul. Like, there is no denying, like, that is the best way to bring Jesus to someone who's never heard it.
It opens the door.
So what about you, Maxine?
I just felt called to serve the Lord, so it was an act of obedience and prayer saying, what is your call on my life? And how do I've surrendered to you. Now, what do you want me to do? And I just felt called to missions. And then in meeting Dave and marrying him, it was, okay, I'm called to be a helpmeet. And however that plays out. And it's been quite a journey. And it's been interesting to see how God's used my passion for sharing Christ and just being a helper to, anything from editing to, working with math skills, and just different things, how they come into play. Ag was not my thing. It was just missions. And I did go to an ag and community health evangelism training course, and just had a kind of realization that people need real practical help. That the mission field is not just about sharing God's word, that you have to actually show Christ's love. So I had a desire to do that, but didn't know how that would manifest. And so it's been pretty neat to see what God did and where he brought us.
I think it's so cool. You said a word, be a helpmeet on the missions field. What does that look like?
It's just it's who you're called to be as a woman. I mean, it really is. It's not always easy. It's doing things you don't expect. Sometimes it's just caring for the kids, and cooking the meals and doing the dishes and the laundry and, the stuff that we're like,
the dirty work.
The dirty work. And it's not very glorious at all, and missions isn't. It's being a prayer warrior. It's just being there to say, oh, you need this done. Okay, I'm going to do that. And yeah, sometimes there were things that I was able to really get involved in and have a passion for, like when we lived in Haiti, serving in a malnutrition clinic, working with the babies and the mothers, and where that was, okay, this is my, one of my niches, and working in the pharmacy and medications. And it was like, oh, I love this, and that's part of my passion and my ministry, and just working, getting to know people and developing relationship, because that's how you share Christ too, is in that 100%. Relationship realm. But as far as being a helpmeet, yeah, it's just being there and praying together and praying for, and and doing whatever's needed.
No.
And the spectrum is very broad,
you're whatever the day's calling for is that's where you kind of fall.
Very much so.
I love that. I talk to my wife all the time, being here at Agape Flights, it's like, it's not just me working here. It's with her too. Because she's also, that support system that I get to rely on, she has her own job on top of that. And I'm just like, I don't know how you do it because my job feels like it's 24/7. And then on top of that, she's got her own job. And so I always just love to hear that aspect, and you see it with you guys. There's the love, there's the honor, and then, it's the people are the most important thing for you guys. So talk about how Hope Seeds was started.
Well, I'll let Maxine go into the story,
sure.
but it's, I can tell a little bit, but it was started at Hope Lutheran Church in Bradenton. They took a mission trip down to Haiti, and it was a very simple trip. And one of the members worked for a seed company, and they said, hey, this would be great. Can you bring some seeds along? We're going to be working for a lot of very poor people. This might be something that they need. And it was a hit. And as soon as they came back, that's all. They just kept getting phone calls, letters. We need more seeds. This is what we desperately need here in Haiti. And so the founder actually came to where I was at, which was another organization. It's called ECHO down in Fort Myers. It stands for Educational Concerns for the Hunger Organization, and came to us and said, hey, how can we help? How can we get involved? And so we said, hey, we don't do anything with vegetable seeds. We have a research station. We do a lot of training education, but we get a lot of requests from families all over the world that, hey, we need seeds. And so Hope Seeds was born at that point. And we weren't doing anything evangelistic. So they took these family pack of seeds, what we call family pack now. They designed this where they sent 12 different varieties of seeds. That's enough to feed a family for a whole year, along with the gospel tracts to be able to give missionaries tools to reach their community. So that was the whole idea behind it, how it got started.
And that's 26 years ago, 1999, when they actually formed the 501c3 nonprofit as a non-denominational ministry separate from the church, but located there. And ironically, we are back on the campus of Hope Lutheran Church, here in 2020. God brought us full circle right back there again.
You guys came there on at 2020?
To that campus.
To that campus. Okay.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been a part of that?
Since 2018, the founder reached out to us and said, hey, I'm getting ready to retire. We were back from the mission field at that point. We were looking at a new assignment. And so we said, this might be the perfect fit. And so we came on as the new director.
So I know what's in these boxes, but explain more about what exactly are in these boxes. So when you decide, hey, when a missionary reaches out, I need this, what do you guys send out?
So we send typically a 12 by 12 by 12 box, so 1 square foot cardboard box filled with 250 family packs that Dave referenced. So each family pack has the gospel tract in the language for where it's going. The ones we delivered here today were for Haiti and Dominican Republic. So we have English, we have Spanish, and some people requested French and English as well, depending on the need there. So you have the different languages, sharing the gospel, and then the 12 different seeds that we've customized. So when we work with a missionary, it's, they may request specific things. Yeah. Or they may say, hey, can you help me figure out what we need here? And so it's based on, location, the country, the culture, the growing environment. Is it low elevation, high elevation?
So you guys aren't just missionaries, you're scientists as well on top of that.
He is, for sure.
That's my background.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So that comes into play. And so 250 of those in one box weighs about 20 pounds and can feed 250 families.
So it has a potential. One box has a potential to fill 5 or 6 shipping containers full of food. So if you think about the cost of sending that one box and the potential, and that's people have then the dignity to be able to do the work themselves. Yeah. And so it provides dignity for the people, provides a lot of hope, but the potential there for a lot of food is there for a very low cost. Yeah, and it's crazy. So obviously we partner with you guys, and you guys just brought in a shipment. How many boxes today?
56.
56. Yeah. So how many people is that going to reach? 56 times 250, correct?
Yeah, we actually multiplied that 14,000.
Wow.
That's 14,000 families.
Families. Wow.
14,000 families.
And that's only going to bleed more into more people because they're going to be.
Exactly.
Hopefully, yeah.
That's so incredible.
It's close to about $1 million. We calculated fair market value of the seed is close to $1 million. So if you think about missions having to purchase that seed, which we've served as missionaries, that was one of the things we could not do is buy a lot of seed. It's just too expensive.
Yeah.
So this is why we exist.
And then the quality and availability is an issue overseas. So what we provide is all open pollinated, which means they can save the seeds to have future growing planting seasons, and it will continue as the same plant. And then also we provide extra so that they do, we hope, and they actually do end up selling
Oh, wow.
the extra produce, providing income. So it's first meeting the need of, okay, we're hungry and now we have extra. So now we can, sell that. We have some money. Now I can afford to send my kids to school, purchase other things that I need. So it's just incredible, the impact, really.
I tell you, every time we see, like every year we get your boxes, I just get excited because I get to open them up and I just get to look inside what's inside of them. The tracks are such an incredible thing. Like you guys could have just stopped by giving just the food that you guys stop, but you're like, no, we're going to help assist you. See, I'm getting emotional because I just love what you guys do so much, but talk about your guys' connection with Agape Flights. How did you guys get connected with us?
Dave first.
Yeah, I guess I was first because I back in the late 80s, early 90s when I was working for Echo in Fort Myers, we took our first flight to Haiti through Agape Flights.
Oh, wow.
And it was a team. I was their intern coordinator, education director. So we were training interns at the time, and we flew 3 of them down that stayed in Haiti at a program called the HAF program up in Pignon. But we flew down first on Agape Flights. So I got to meet the founder, Keith. I think it was his last name right now.
Starkey.
Keith. Starkey. Yeah. And so I got to meet the founder. And then we ended up flying out on MFI, but we flew MAF in country. So I got to see all 3
Oh, wow.
missions that flew around Haiti. And so that's when I first got connected with Agape Flights.
That's so cool. And now you guys are partnered through us with Hope Seeds. Talk about that connection.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out how it happened at first. I mean, when we came on, Hope Seeds, obviously was established and working with missionaries already. So we had seeds coming down to Agape, going out to different missions, but it was sporadic. There were just specific organizations that knew about us and were utilizing our services. And we came down to like pie in the sky with our kids naturally, and at one of those, I think it was the first pie in the sky we came to, we connected with some of your missionaries in person who were here and developed closer relationship. Oh, and also if you go back to our first year of full-time here at Hope Seeds, Alan was he was pastoring at First Baptist in Bradenton.
Oh, wow.
And we had a seed packing event there because we're a volunteer organization. Everything's done by volunteers except for the 2 of us and 1 part-time person. So we had a seed packing event and we met Alan there and we started talking about, his work here at Agape and how so we were both, brainstorming, going back and forth on how can we do more? We really need to just partner and do more together. And, I don't know, over the years we had COVID in between and stuff. So
COVID slowed things up.
I can imagine so, yeah.
I'm not sure exactly when the full major partnership took place. It's a few years ago. Like, how did that come about? It certainly was in the works and discussion for quite a while.
So this is the 3rd year of the special outreach. So we've been sending seeds for quite a few years, but this is the 3rd year for the special.
That's so cool.
Which has so much of a bigger impact. It's really exciting.
We always talk about it in staff meetings, like, okay, it's time for the Hope Seeds discussion. And so we know like our missionaries, like, it's like, okay, this missionary can't get email, so we need to make sure we call them because it's like, because there's just what you guys provide is just so valuable because as you guys know, Haiti, there's not stores.
No.
Like you can't just go down the street and get a cucumber or anything.
Relying on growing their own food.
Exactly.
Really
and so like providing this for missionaries to give out is like, oh my goodness, this missionary just saved my life.
Yeah.
literally.
And then the missionary's like, well, let me tell you how to really save your life as well.
Exactly. That's the whole point, is open up the door for the gospel.
100%. 100%. So I know you guys work with us. How do you guys distribute? What other countries do you distribute into, and how do you do that?
So we're in about 60 countries over the 26 years that Hope Seeds has been around. We've worked in about 60 countries. And it's all through individual missionaries and mission organizations. And so it's done differently throughout the world, depending upon what country we're working in. It could be just as simple as a missionary taking a suitcase of seeds. And we can get up to enough seeds in one suitcase for 500 families for a whole year. So it's really easy for us to be able to get that seed in through missionaries. So over the years, it's been quite a few.
Yeah, I mean, last year was 28 countries.
28
to give
countries
you an idea.
Mm.
And we're talking places like throughout Africa, Central America, of course, the Caribbean, even places like Cambodia and Vietnam, Philippines. We're getting into Asia, and we're starting some stuff in India now.
And we partner in different ways. There might be an organization that needs, say, hey, the seeds are great, but we also need somebody to come and train. So we have a program called the Hope Corps program that we send volunteer missionaries overseas to fill that gap, to be able to do the training. But we don't stop there. In Kenya, not long ago, we did a training where we used a curriculum called Farming God's Way. And that took us into a discipleship program, and which we also had a counseling program to work with widows then that were selling kids into human trafficking. So we sometimes we have a more extensive partnership with different organizations. Others, we might just send seeds and the gospel tracts and education materials. And
I love that you guys don't just stop by giving seeds. You guys go the extra mile, making sure, hey, like, you have the resources. Hey, we'll sit down. We'll make sure you guys know how to actually. I don't want to. I'm butchering it. I was going to just say bury seeds, but I know there's much more to that.
Yep. No, we want to make sure everything that gets used properly.
Yes.
And we're donors that are working so hard to put into our organization that they can trust that the seeds are going to where to help as many people as we possibly can.
Definitely. So what is the training? Because obviously I know this field is ever changing. So what training do you guys do to, stay on top of the understanding of this location needs this location needs that?
So that's kind of, it's a daily, as we work with different organizations, just hearing what their needs are. Some organizations, like we're working with one in Mozambique right now, they have trainers. Now, their trainers have background in agriculture, and they've been doing it for a long time in their country, so they have some of that expertise, but they need to help expand their knowledge. So we're trying to, I would have been there this year if it wasn't for a health issue that I had planned to go in to do the training, but we are still planning on going into Mozambique. And so eventually we'll go in and we try just to train trainers. We don't work with a big, large crowd of people. It's usually very focused. And so we'll go in and help them. And we also have in Haiti, we have our own people too. So Hope Seeds we have a country coordinator that will work with a lot of partners with Copy Flights we can send out to do the training for those organizations.
So smart. It's just getting ahead of it before it even, because that's going to be a problem with people. They're going to be like, how do I do this?
Now, what do we do with the seed?
Exactly. And so like getting ahead of that. So it's like, hey, I already have your solution for the problem. Like that's so forward thinking. I want to talk a little bit about some stories. I know you guys have some incredible stories. I want to hear them from you guys.
Yeah. Well, I guess one of my stories just in Haiti, we started a new program called our Mustard Seed Project. I was down in Haiti in, what was
2021?
2021. And I was with a group of missionaries, and we were out and we were following up on where some of the seeds had went, seeing if anybody had any problems, any questions to help with as far as gardening. And I saw this lady just crying on the side of the road, and we were out in the middle of nowhere. And she had a couple kids sitting on this little mud hut. And so I said to the missionaries, hey, can we just stop and just go find out why this young lady's crying? And they're like, well, sure. Sometimes we just don't even, we're so focused. And so we stopped and we went over, and this lady said she just had her third child just like a few weeks ago. And she was looking around. She had this big, beautiful garden around her house. And she had planted all this belonged to her, but no longer. While she was in the hospital, her husband took off and left, sold the land around her, and took that money and left. And she was just like, what do I do now? I'm not even able to harvest from the plants and the food that I planted on my own. And so Hope Seeds, we got involved. We found out, who bought the land? How could we get this land back? And so for only a couple $100, we were able to get the land back and get her back on her feet. And so we started a program called the Mustard Seed Project. It's finding little small needs that might go unnoticed, planting a small seed and hoping for a big outcome. And so now Samantha, that we went through some of our training programs, and now she is training others. She's discipling others. And so she has a group of widows that meets with her now for Bible studies and to help, them to be able to grow their own food as well. And so that's the type of results that we like to see. We like to see a kingdom impact and being able to impact others around the people that we're working with in a sustainable way so we're not constantly going back, sending seeds to the same area that, they're saving their own seeds. They're passing the seeds out to others around their community.
Yeah, I think that is the beauty of mission work is when you can start building up leaders inside of the countries to take that next step so that you can focus in a different area of the calling. Like that's such a genuine feeling for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And we do get that feedback. We have so many partners, like Agape Flights has over 300 missionaries partners. So sometimes it's hard for us to get the feedback.
100%.
But when we do hear back, it's just like, wow, it's been a big impact. We've impacted a lot of families. It's opened the doors. Like Sierra Leone one time, it's a very predominantly Muslim area. And this missionary couple had been there for years trying to figure out how are we going to open the doors to this community. And so they used the seeds, and that's what it took. That was the connection that it took to open up the doors for them to share the gospel.
Yeah, I just love that. That's such a beautiful story. I want to talk, how has your guys' faith grown since you've been part of Hope Seeds?
I think we've always had to live by faith, but it definitely has grown because it's donor run. We depend on individual donations. Since we came on, it's grown exponentially, whereas staffing has not. So, you sit there and you go, well, how, Lord, okay. And just how he provides, those little and very big miracles and just the moment by moment, provision, day by day, getting us through recently when he went through surgery and then watching how yet it still continues. So it's God doing the work. It's not us. We're just vessels. And then just a host of volunteers, how God brings those people at the right time to help. And to watch Hope Seeds grow so much. It's just, you can't help but live by faith,
Just an example, we might be sending a couple 100,000 seed packets a year. Now we're up over 1 million.
Yeah.
And so it's exploded over the years. 2020 brought a lot of that because of the slowdown of getting seeds out to a lot of countries in the world. So Hope Seeds had to kind of fill that gap. Yeah, especially for Haiti. I mean, Haiti really is dependent upon what we send.
Yeah. And a lot of times I was talking to someone about Hope Seeds and they're like, Haiti that's like a lush country. Like they shouldn't have problems planting. And I was just like, they have nothing. How are they supposed to plant with, where are the seeds supposed to come from? The air? And I was just like,
exactly.
Sometimes you have to explain things because like people don't know. They don't know. Like, I mean, understand. All the areas you guys serve, there's something going on. Like there's just, that's the world we live in. So what is the horizon? What does the horizon look like for you guys at Hope Seeds?
Well, that's a good question because we're expanding and we're trying to look down the road, our 5-year plan and how we're going to meet the needs. And we definitely need staff. We're going to have to hire. We want to keep our organization lean and mean. That's been our goal from the very beginning is that the dollars that come in is going out to help serve the people on the field, not going into big buildings or infrastructure. So we've tried to keep that commitment strong and going, but we definitely need staff. We're looking for staff right now. We're looking for more core volunteers that can come in with skills, maybe retired, semi-retired, that might be able to come in and work in our office and help us with things like fundraising and things that we do and coordinating all the seed packing events across the country because it is countrywide. What we churches will come in, they pack seeds for us, put all this together. That's why we're able to do what we do because of all the volunteers. And so
I can second that here at Agape.
it's the same here at Agape. It's the same thing. I've watched Agape grow over the years.
Yeah.
Very similar. And so we're completely relying on volunteers. So, but we definitely need somebody to coordinate all those volunteers.
Yeah. Feel free.
And that takes time.
Plug that right now. Plug.
Right.
What is the job you're looking for? Where can they reach you at? What is your website? Talk about that.
So it's hopeseeds.org. And you can give them our phone number.
Yeah, phone number is 941-228-5660.
And you guys in the Sarasota, Bradenton area.
Sarasota,
Right.
Bradenton area. And we're looking for somebody that can help coordinate seed packing events, work with all of our churches. We help train coordinators in the local churches that will put on these events, that can go out, can speak at the churches, give updates on what we're doing around the world, and coordinate all this because it takes a lot of coordination. And then work with our partners. So working with all of our individual partners, Agape Flights makes it really easy for us because they do a lot of the coordination. But then around the world, we have to work with individual partners, and that takes a lot of work. So we need somebody that can help out in that area, maybe helping them fundraising. Everybody at Hope Seeds wears multiple hats. We do the media, we do the fundraising, we do it all. And so getting somebody that can help us with that would be just amazing.
I love it. Definitely. Again, I love Alan because, sometimes people feel like there's competition inside of the ministry world. And Alan's like, no, like our job is to work alongside.
Big
Exactly.
time.
And that's our whole goal. A lot of it is, we like to promote other organizations.
Yes.
That's part of what we do. So when we hear about an organization, I said, give us feedback so we can put you on our Facebook. We can put you on our media and get your name out of what you're doing to help you raise the funds and things to carry out your work. So
Because we're the body of Christ. We
We're the
have
body
to
of
work
Christ.
together.
We don't
It's
need to
not
worry about
one
that.
part without the other. It's,
The competition aspect always just doesn't make sense to
No.
me.
it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No.
Just look at your walk with God, and he'll clean that up for you real quick.
Yeah, that's been something has bothered me over the
It
years.
definitely.
But it's you see it on occasion.
Yeah, of
but I
course.
think people down deep, they realize it's not a competition.
That's 100%. So I want to wrap this up with just asking you guys one last question. If you could leave, and I'm being cheesy on this, but you could leave one seed of purpose today for our listeners, what would that be?
Let's see. I kind of just blurted out, keep planting seeds. No matter what organization you're supporting, whatever you're doing in life, just keep doing it for Christ. Just keep doing it for Jesus.
those seeds of hope, the truth of God's word.
Yeah. Just keep planting it in people's hearts.
I love that. It's so simple, but so powerful.
It's so simple.
That's
That's what Hope Seeds is all about. Yeah.
Well, Maxine, Dave, thank you guys so much for
Thank
being
you,
here
Sean.
today.
Thank you.
I love hearing your stories. And again, I get emotional because I get to see what your seeds do. And so for me, I know the purpose of God's kingdom with what you guys do is so cool to see it in action every day. I mean, our missionaries do send some photos sometimes. As much as they do,
They don't have
missionaries.
time.
We know, yeah. The missionaries don't send it as much as we want, but
And we've been there. We've been on the field where we were not the best at that.
no. It doesn't help when you don't have internet in Haiti either.
Yeah.
So Starlink is your only
Exactly.
option. So again, thank you guys so
Well, thank
much.
you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for all what you do.
Oh, thank you. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Tune in next week for another episode of the Agape Purpose Podcast, and we'll see you then. God bless.